think this thing works.
Oh, who cares? Let's just blow it up. Wait, there's a riddle on it. Sorry, I didn't see it.
Winx Club 4 Kids Edition is the best version. There's no denying it. How's it going, everybody? As you can tell, I have a different setup. I have a new intro, I have a new outro, I have a new look. Like, everything is a lot more uniform now, and I'm not gonna lie, I really like it. Like, basically what I did was that I gave my, my new icon to a 2D tuber creator and was like, I want you to make something for me, nicely, of course. And she did it. I love it. I'm gonna tag her down below. I got her off of Etsy. If you guys want to have something like her, I highly suggest that you commission her. She really, really like brought my vision to life, and I love her. Isn't she cute? Isn't she pretty? I have like so many different emotes as well because I'm a very expressive person, and I felt like you guys couldn't really get my expressions through my voice alone. And so I'm like, you know what? What's the next best thing? I'm gonna get a VTuber. And so like, this is gonna be the new setup. I really like it. I might upgrade her in a couple years, but at the moment, this is what I got. This is what I got. Now this video, I'm not gonna lie, it's a long time coming. For those of you guys who do not know, I have always been a magical girl girly. Growing up, 3 favorite magical girl series were Sailor Moon, Winx Club, and I want to say Tokyo Mew Mew, but I didn't really get into Tokyo Mew Mew that much. Tokyo Mew Mew was one of those shows where it's like, My other favorite show was Witch, which I actually found out we're getting a revival or like a reboot, and I'm so excited and kind of worried because of how reboots have been going, which is also kind of why I feel a little worried about Winx Club, because Winx Club does not have the best reputation when it comes with reboots. I am looking at you, Nickelodeon. I am looking at you, Netflix.
Ew.
But the thing is, like, I think it's only fair that I share my obsession with Winx Club with y'all and bring you into the whole magical universe, because y'all, this series is honestly peak television. Like, Winx Club as a whole, but not just the 4 Kids dub, even though, like I said before, the 4 Kids dub, in my opinion, is a superior dub. It's way better than anything Nickelodeon did. God. Nickelodeon has like a habit of just like dumbing down all material, and I really don't know why. We need to go back to old school Nickelodeon, like House of Anubis. We need House of Anubis back, which I'm not gonna lie, I found very weird that this was a majority white cast in a show about Egyptian mythology. I will come back to this. I'm probably gonna make a video about this too, because I'm not the only one who watched House of Anubis. This also gives me a reason to binge watch it again. I think it's on like Paramount. Paramount is the people that is partnered with Nickelodeon, right? Paramount, or is it Peacock? It's one of the two. But I'm sorry about the ranting. But long story short, Winx Club is one of those shows that has not changed throughout history. Well, it's changed because, there's different dubs. But what I mean, like, it's a show that can go over different types of people. And when I say it can go cover different types of people, I mean like boys, girls, grown adults, little kids, anybody who loves girls who look amazing and who aren't afraid of, getting their nails done and kicking ass will love Winx Club. And I hope I'm not the only one. And for the next video, by the way, I'm trying something new here. Rather than doing a script, because I didn't like how I sounded with the script last video, I have now notes with bullet points. So we're gonna see how this is gonna go. Hopefully I don't rant too bad, but at the same time, I mean, certain things have to be said. So let's go ahead and let's dive into the world of Winx Club, shall we?
I won't make it easy for you now.
Okay, as I said before, I have a list of bullet points rather than a script because I did not like how I sound with the script. And I feel like bullet points will give me a chance to better express myself. For those guys who do not know, the voice cast, honestly, of 4Kids Winx Club is, in my opinion, some of the best voice acting I have ever heard. So for Bloom, we have Lisa Jacqueline. For both Stella and Darcy, we have Karen Manuel. Now, Lisa Adams, I forget which season she did. Oh, Lisa Adams voiced Stella for like 3 episodes, and you can clearly hear it. Like, take a look at this.
For the royal parade! Boy, packing for vacation when your parents are separated is way complicated. All of the universe. It can take you to any moment in time, anywhere in the realms. All you have to do is ask nicely.
We are going to pretend we didn't hear that.
Yeah, terrible. Terrible whatsoever. But then we have Carrie Williams for Flora. We have Lisa Ortiz literally giving us the performance of a lifetime as not only Musa, but also Icy. And then she also voiced Mitzi, which just shows her range and Digit. But the thing is, you can kind of hear it.
You see, not only is the Ring of Solaria gonna fall right into our hands, but we get to break Stella's precious heart. I can't tell you how much I love watching a little Pixie get her heart broken.
Friend or not, she's gonna get mused. She's gonna get mused? What's that?
I'm gonna go back to Musa later. Remember that. I'm gonna go back to Musa later. And then Tekna also had 2 different voice actors. She had this lady called Danielle Schaefer. I think that's pronounced her name. Yeah, Danielle Schaefer and Rebecca Solar. And then we have Vashti Mompoint as, who is this? As Aisha / Layla. And we have Susie Myers as, who is this? Stormy. Now, we also get in like some flashbacks as well. We get what is her name? Erica Schroeder as not only, let's see, who is this? As Daphne and Galatea. But we'll get back to her later. But can we also talk about how Dan Green voices Sky? And for those guys who do not know, he voices Yukimoto and the Pharaoh inside the original Yu-Gi-Oh dub, and you can clearly hear it. There are several times when Sky is talking and you know that's freaking Yugi getting yelled at by the Pharaoh, or like literally just listen to this right here.
You won't get away with what you did! If I can talk to her, maybe she'll listen and I can reach beyond the spell.
We have a bunch of other people that I'm not gonna lie, I really do not care about, but that's the main cast. Okay, so like, I know I'm gonna get people who are gonna be like, what about the other dubs? I know there are other dubs of Winx Club, but in my opinion, the Rainbow dub, the Nickelodeon dub of Definitely, and the Cinelume dub, in my opinion, are not on the same level as the 4Kids dub. And I'm gonna explain why. The 4Kids dub both tone down some things, but also enhance some other things. So like, for example, the 4Kids version basically makes it obvious that this is a college, even though I want to say they have a misprint not misprint, but like a little mistake when they call it a high school at first. But no, these girls are in college. Like, Althea is a university, which I'm not gonna lie. If you put Althea and Hogwarts next to each other, Althea is kicking Hogwarts out the water because at least these faculty and staff somewhat care, not somewhat, they do care about their students. Even, what's her name? The lady with the bob off, lady who does the bob. Griselda, even though we all know that Homegirl is not afraid of like punishing our girls, which we will get into a breakdown of Griselda later, she is very caring of her students. Several times where the Winx girlies were in trouble and Griselda went out of her way to make sure they got help. Not only that, but head mistress Farragonda, she has thrown hands, she has thrown hands with lesser people for messing with her girls. Like, she has thrown hands with the tricks. She has, which by the way, I really hate that they call them that in like the Nickelodeon dub. I'm just gonna call them the witches. She's thrown hands with the witches.
They don't, do you?
What is this ruckus all about?
Oh.
I've had it with you 3 witches. Icebreaker.
creature of the night. Nocturnus, extinctus! We did it, Bloom. Now, as for you witches, you've invaded Althea for the last time. Ha! Get back here, young ladies.
Yeah, right.
Later. Wait!
She's thrown hands with Valtor, and we're not gonna act as if Griffin was not beating Valtor's ass during this fight. Like, he got his butt laid out. And even back when it comes to the witches, they ran from her because they knew that, you know, you can mess with the girls, but you are not gonna mess with the head mistress, who, by the way, apparently, so for you guys who do not know, Professor Farragonda is actually a fairy godmother, like an ex-fairy godmother, which is interesting because inside the Nickelodeon dub, they mention that there are other fairy godmothers, but I don't think that was in the original lore. Because, like, for example, Enchantix inside the original dub, and all the dubs, you know, before Nickelodeon took over, was the final form. And then we had, you know, Believix, which, I'm not gonna lie, Believix makes no fucking sense, but we'll get into that when I have a breakdown. By the way, I do plan to break down every episode. Well, not every episode at one time. I'm gonna do, like, batches. Because this is... because these have very long seasons, like I'm talking like 20 plus episodes a season, and there's no way I'm doing 20 videos per season, no way. Instead, I'm gonna do them in like batches of 4, batches of 3, maybe, because there is no way I can do all of that at once, and it's just, it will be a lot of videos, and I don't want to like get y'all burnt out on Winx Club. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. The main thing also that I love about Winx Club is that it really shows the diversity, not in like the ethnicities of people, which we will get into, but it also shows diversity in relationships. I'm not gonna lie, there are only 2 healthy, no, out of like the main people, there's like only 3 healthy relationships. There is Sky and Brandon, there is Helia and Flora, and there's 4. Out of like all the relationships, there's actually only like a handful that we can call like legitimate healthy. There is Sky and Brandon, not Sky and Brandon, even though we all know that those 2 are boyfriends. There is Brandon and Stella. There is Flora and Helia. There is Aisha/Layla, which I don't understand why they changed her name, but there's like Aisha/Layla with Naboo. And then we have Tekna and Timmy. The other 2 relationships, Bloom and Sky and Musa and Riven, are terrible. They are absolutely terrible. Mostly because here's the thing with Bloom and Sky. Bloom is fine. If anything, Bloom needs to be in the polyamorous relationship with Stella and Brandon. Sky is trash, okay? And I will get down to why he's trash later on this video. And y'all already know about Musa and Riven. Like, those 2 need to literally just let each other go. Which I am kind of impressed that 4Kids did handle that maturely. Sky and Bloom, no. But Musa and Riven, which I will get into, like I said, later in the video, they actually did handle very well, because Musa knows, for example, that she should not be treated this way. Yet why she keeps on going back to him, I will never know. But anyway, let's go ahead and go into the next part of this video. Things I actually find pretty interesting is that how like race and ethnicity don't really exist in this world, like in this universe. So for those guys who do not know, Winx Club goes by like the feudal system, where there's like kings and queens of like various planets and realms. So they call them realms, even though those are clearly planets, I guess. And they have like duchesses and lords and all this stuff. So they have like hierarchies, you know, they have peasants and all the other stuff. But people don't discriminate against each other because of skin color. They discriminate against each other, honestly, about how they use their magic. So for example, there's like heavy witch discrimination in this universe. even though the witches have shown themselves to be like way more diverse in their magic than like the Winx girls. I'm just saying, you guys can come at me if you want, but I'm just saying the hashtag, we need to talk about the witches, because there is no way that the witches get as much hate as they do, especially, which if we're being honest, they saved the Winx's asses several times. Well, not a lot, but they saved their asses. Like, we will get into that later. But anyway, but when it comes to like ethnicity and race, it's not a thing. They more so go by where you come from. So for example, people from different planets might have beef, which I find so funny on how you can have beef with a whole ass planet. But it's like, it also really shows basically true color blindness, because like, for example, people don't look down on certain people because, you know, they're brown or they're Asian presenting, because in these worlds they don't have Asia, they don't have Africa, they don't have, you know, America, they have, or, you know, South America, they have planets. And you can also really see about like how people interact with certain characters. Like, I can tell a lot about you based on once of all, who your favorite Winx Club girly is, and two, how you act when certain things happen. Because for example, Flora, which has like, you know, the whole world has accepted as to be Latina presenting, which is funny because she's based off of Jennifer J-Lo? Hold on, wait, one second. Let's see. Who is Flora based off of in Winx Club? Yeah, Jennifer Lopez. I was right. And the whole thing that it comes with, you know, Aisha / Layla, she's obviously based on Beyonce. Tekna, I forget who Tekna is based off of. I do know that Stella is based off of Britney Spears. And I believe that, what's her name? Musa is based off of Lucy Lau. I want to say that's who she's based off of. So like, it's a very diverse cast of people. However, there have been some things, and I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of irritates me a little bit, is that whenever I see like fan fiction or like fan art of like, for example, the witches, Stormy is always like a white woman, which I am not sorry. That woman is a clearly light-skinned black woman. Cause first of all, who else has hair like that? Now, I'm not saying that Stormy's personality as being an aggressive black woman is good. There are heavy stereotypes in this show, especially in the 4Kids, because let's just look at Musa's introduction and some interesting Musa scenes, shall we?
You are quite infamous.
That's the word on the street. Yo, if you plan to blow up more stuff, let us know ahead so we can bounce.
Don't worry, I got it. I don't think that's it.
Go, little omelet, spinning like a DJ, like it's your birthday, like you got your biggest fan, gonna serve you up with ham.
Knock it off! I see you need instruction in singing as well as cooking.
Yeah, these did not age well. These did not age well at all. But at the same time, I can kind of see where they were coming from, even though I do not understand how they have this girl who is from a musical realm. Yes, she has a black scent. Like, oh my god. I remember watching this episode and like the later episodes, and I'm like, something don't seem right about this. Now the black scent leaves. Like, the black scent leaves after like halfway of season 2, but it's like you can clearly tell somebody in writing was like, we can't have this. We can't have this. People are complaining, which I'm not gonna lie, I was probably one of those people, because how in the world does this girl have a thicker accent and use a more AAVE than me? Explain that. Though I do also kind of funny that when it comes to black scents, they always have the same, they also sound the same, even though AAVE is like a universal thing and we all have like different ways of talking and like different mannerisms like that. But we'll come back to sorry, ranting again, back to my bullet points. But when it comes to like the diversity and when it comes to the true color blindness, I really do appreciate on how you can kind of see that they were trying. And what a lot of people don't realize is that growing up, especially during a time where there was mostly nothing but white people on screen, which unfortunately still is like that today, it felt good to see a girl, you know, like Aisha / Layla, who not only was one of the most powerful fairies, but she also was the most respected. Like, I know some people like to claim that Stella is the second command of the Winx Club girlies. Nah, that is Aisha. Though they do ruin her in like the later dubs, because Bloom has to become the main character for every 5 fucking seconds. But it's like, it literally, the hierarchy goes Bloom, Aisha, Stella, Flora, Technomusa. Even though, little side rant, even though technically speaking, Techna probably should be higher up, because in this universe, they have technology, but it's called like techno magic, and Techna is the fairy of technology, which I don't understand, honestly, how one fairy can be the fairy of all technology. But you get what I'm trying to say. It doesn't make any sense on how she's so weak and how she, at least in the 4Kids dub, I don't know, the other dubs ruin her because, you know, gotta ruin everything. But the 4Kids dub, for some reason, also gave her a British accent, which I'm not complaining about. But she really does shine with a lot of her gadgets. And, like, her relationship with Timmy is just so sweet, because you can clearly tell that she's very robotic. Because when you find out about her planet Zenith. You find about her planet Zenith, they literally say and show that showing emotion is not normalized. So it makes sense that she wouldn't want to, like, you know, that she wouldn't know how to show her emotions and stuff like that when it comes to boys. But hashtag one of the best boys, Timmy. I'm sorry about the rant. But also, it's like, unfortunately, there are some stereotypes and there are some problematic things, because this was the early 2000s. And what we got away with the early 2000s, we definitely cannot get away with now. For example, there is a scene inside the first season where they have this black character who, she tries to fix her hair, but she makes it poofy. And in the original dub, not the 4Kids dub, the original dub, they make it so that her hair turns to an afro, and Bloom makes fun of her for having her hair like that. And it looks like spongy, and like Bloom like touches her hair and all that. Like, so the 4Kids dub saw that and was like, no, we're gonna change that. So then they changed it to where the girl, you know, rather than messing up her hair's already like that. They have it so that instead she changes her voice, and, you know, she becomes like a high-pitched squeaky voice, whatever. But it's like, I like the change, but why was that in there to begin with? Like, answer me that. Answer me that. I just need to know. Okay, so we cannot talk about Winx Club without talking and showing the amazing fashion. So for a lot of people who do not know, Winx Club was heavily influenced by Y2K fashion, which a lot of people for some reason call it streetwear, but it's not. And also, I'm going ahead and put this out there. Y2K fashion was also a very much black thing, a very much BIPOC thing before it hit mainstream. Like, you had everybody from Destiny's Child, who really, honestly, they really set it off. But you had Destiny's Child, you had TLC, you had Aaliyah, like, you had some of these top repping black artists starting it. And before I get people in the comments, no, obviously I'm not saying only black people wore it. I'm just saying it started with us, and like everything else, it spread out. So then you had people like the Backstreet Boys, you had the Backstreet Boys, you had NSYNC, you had Britney Spears, you had like a lot, and also a lot of K-pop people as well. If you guys look at it, a lot of K-pop fashion, Boys to Men also, but that's a black thing. But like a lot of K-pop groups, their main aesthetic is Y2K, which I'm probably gonna make a video about the K-pop world and how, I'm not saying it's stolen from black culture, because that would unleash the people. But I'm saying is like, I just wish people would respect where it comes from. I guess that's the best way to say, and rather than like just saying, oh, these people came up with it first. No, it started off, it's kind of like how you guys know the saying where you can't outdo the doer, or you can't outdo the originator. Yeah, that started off as a black saying, and then it spread out. But anyway, but my point is that Y2K fashion is really a brightly colored, very bold, very flashy type of fashion. Like, it obviously was like the crop tops, it was like the low-rise jeans, it was the embroidered jeans, it was the chunky bracelets, it was literally everything. And Winx Club took this and like flew with it. Oh my god, they have so many memorable outfits. And it's funny because like Stella is supposed to be, the fashion girly who makes all their clothes and is like the one people go to when they need fashion advice. And I'm not saying she's not good. She actually is amazing. My only thing is like, they ruined her after the 4 kids. Like, her fashion was terrible. Like, look at this little scene from the Nickelodeon dub, and I will let y'all decide. But it's like, this is also one of the things that really frustrated me. Little side tangent. This is something that really frustrated me about the live action Winx Club, which, if you guys actually want me to review that atrocity of a show, I will. But I really don't want to. I really don't want to, because it literally, it has nothing to do with Winx Club. Like, it literally just has the characters' names in it, and that's it. That's literally all that it does. And it's saddening. I'm hoping that the new reboot is going to be something better. But anyway, back to the fashion. And sorry, tangents and all that stuff. But it's like, the fashion really is memorable when it comes to Winx Club. And the one thing that the 4 kids really did is like, they made sure that the girls really brought it to the forefront. Like, also because, it was marketed to girls, it was marketed to girls, though some boys did like it. And I really remember like trying to like color and make different fashion, like, and make little fashion drawings, because I wanted to like make my own outfits. I can sew, but I cannot make outfits. And the people who do make outfits, I love you. But it's like, and also let's talk about how each and everyone's outfit like styles matches their personality. So for example, when we have Aisha / Layla, her stuff is very sporty. She's also the fairy of water, so her stuff for some reason also is a lot of greens, which I don't get. For some reason, the show as a whole, this is not just the 4 kids dub, but the 4 kids dub, I'm sorry, the 4 kids dub, but the show as a whole decided like blue was Bloom's color, which I don't understand why. Because she's the fairy of the dragon flame. I gotta stop quoting Nickelodeon dubs, but she's like the fairy of, and the holder of the dragon fire. So it's like, why are her colors blue? Especially when like, her powers are red and orange. Like, probably didn't want it to contrast with her hair, but I feel like they missed an opportunity, because I personally believe that Aisha should have a lot more blue, a lot more purples. Like, and even then purple goes to Tekna. Like, everybody has their own color scheme. Like Bloom has blue, obviously. Stella is yellow and like golds. Aisha is like green. Then you have Musa, who is like magenta. I want to say this is supposed to be magenta. And then you have Flora, who also has pinks and greens, and then because plants and all that. And then you have Tekna, whose colors are purples and greens, and she has like some blue as well. But you can clearly tell that like whose clothes belong with who. So like, for example, Techna's clothes are very like angular, they're very sharp because, you know, technology. Then you have Flora, whose clothes are very wispy. That girl was hitting that stuff. She was hitting that stuff hard. And y'all know which stuff I'm talking about. But like, her clothes is very wispy, her clothes is very light. Then you have Musa, who doesn't really care about fashion, so like she just wears whatever, you know. And then you have Stella, whose clothes are pretty much the fashion forward of everything. You know that when Stella walks in the room, she's gonna turn heads, and I love that. Stella is also very more in touch with her royal side compared to like the others, which I will talk about that later. But Stella has a lot of like jewels in her clothes. She has a lot of like tiaras. She has a lot of like, you know, rings, even though we don't really see her use her main ring a lot later on. But like, she is very in tune with who she is. Bloom's stuff is very cutesy, very simple. You know, it's adorable. I will say that 4Kids dub, Bloom is honestly one of my favorite iterations of her, and it could be because of the voice actress. The voice actress brings a lot of warmth and a lot of like, you can feel a little bit immaturity, but also I will drop a bitch. I will drop bodies for people who, you know, like mess with my friends. Which shut up! Shut up! I will talk about that when I get to the characters development. I mean, it's like the characters, because if there's one thing that I love about every single one of the Winx girlies is that they are ready to like drop bodies for their friends. And I love that. I stand. I absolutely stand. So let's talk about the characters, because honestly, you know, a show is nothing without its characters. So, you know, we have the main five. Yes, the main five girls. I had to think about it. I'm like, is Roxy considered a main character? Roxy was supposed, so I will get into Roxy probably in another video. But allegedly she was supposed to be the 6th Winx Club member, but she got pushed aside when Nickelodeon took over, but we'll see. But anyway, we got our 4, you know, not 4, damn it. So we have our 5 original girlies. We have Bloom, we have Stella, we have Musa, we have Flora, we have Techna. Now those are the original 5? Yes, those original 5, so there's 6. Then we have Aisha, who comes in season 2. And each of the girls bring their own different types of like, I guess you could say personalities to the group. So for example, Bloom is obviously the leader, which, okay, here's my problem with Bloom being a leader. While I understand she's allegedly, and I say this very strongly, that she is allegedly the most powerful fairy in existence, even though she gets her butt kicked like every 5 fucking minutes, especially in later seasons. She doesn't really give me leader energy, and this is just my opinion. You guys can disagree with me later, but I personally feel like one of the true leaders is Stella, because Stella is ready to jump into freaking battles over the most minor things. You know what? Maybe that's a reason why she's not the leader. Maybe that's the reason why she is not the leader, because Stella is ready to jump fools' asses the moment they look at her sideways, which I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. It's pretty good for a girl. But that also comes, I guess, with Stella being royalty, which, by the way, they retcon this a lot, but originally only Stella, Bloom, and Aisha were the only royals. But then we have later on everybody else, especially in the Nick dub for some reason, is either royalty or they're like descendants of royalty. So for example, Musa's mother all of a sudden becomes a princess, but she gave it up for her father, and who's like her grandmother is a queen or something. Like, I gotta go back and see, but they changed the dynamics a lot, and I really liked how the 4Kids gave us basically half and half. You know, half of them are royalty, half of them are not, and you can also see how they each view themselves as royalty. So for example, Bloom's main thing is, you know, she's the princess of a planet, which is called Sparks in the 4Kids. For some reason, they call it Domino in the other versions, which I found out that Domino is apparently the original name, to which I don't understand why the Great Dragon of Unity... I'm sorry. Let's move on. I don't understand why the Great Dragon of, like, you know, magic and shit, how it settled on a planet and called it Domino. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why not call it Sparks? Why not call it... I almost said Solaria. Well, you know what? Yeah, why didn't it settle on Solaria either? Like, this is a dragon whose main power is fire and magic. Why Domino? Is it because it's supposed to be like a domino effect? Oh my god, that actually just might be it. No, it's not. I'm wrong. No, it's not. But it's like, I don't understand why. I really don't understand why. But anyway, so Bloom's main thing is, you know, she's the princess of a planet who is no longer here. Now, they later retcon this and bring Domino / Sparks back to life in the movies. And then they also bring everybody else back to life in the movies. Like Daphne, for example. And technically speaking, since Daphne is like the elder sister, she becomes crown princess. So Bloom just has nothing to do now. It's so funny because Bloom has technically speaking nothing to do now, because like her sister is allegedly more stronger than she is, and she's the crown princess. Which also, little side note, Daphne meets a man like when she comes back. Daphne meets a man, falls in love, gets engaged, and married all within a single season, which these seasons last about a year. Homegirl did all of that for a year. Meanwhile, Bloom and Sky have been engaged since, I'm trying to think, since the end of season 3. And then we have the movies, and then we have the later seasons. Like, this is not inside the 4Kids, but y'all get what I'm going. Y'all get where I'm going with this. Sky is trash. Okay, Sky is trash, and I'm gonna explain why when I get to his section. But then, sorry, tangent over. But then we have Stella, who basically is, I'm not gonna lie, Stella is spoiled rotten, okay? She is a spoiled rotten girl, but she knows she's that bitch, and that's why I love Stella. Stella has always been one of my favorite characters, probably because I relate to her. She gives such Aries energy. She gives Aries, okay, so she gives an Aries sun with a Scorpio moon and a Sagittarius rising. Tell me I am wrong. Tell me I am wrong, because she literally gives such Aries, like Aries sun and Scorpio moon energy with how much, when is Flora, when are these people's birthdays? Well, give me 1 second. Let's see, when is Stella's birthday, Winx Club? Okay, so her birthday is August 8th, and hold on, let's see what Zodiac. She is a Leo. You know what? I can totally see that too. I was close. I was close. I don't know. I don't understand. But you know what? I was close. And it's like, Stella will forever be that bitch. She has, you know, she is spoiled rotten because she knows what she wants and she's not afraid to chase after it. She is a little bit selfish in certain situations, but they really changed that later on, especially when it comes to defending her friends. Like I said, Stella is the first to jump into almost any fight and is ready to drop bodies, like, for people who mess with her friends. And the same thing kind of can go with Aisha. So Aisha is also a princess, but her thing is like, she rejects being a princess. Okay, and the 4Kids dub really shows how much pain Aisha has with, like, being forced to grow up alone. She rejects even the gender norms of their world. Like, she rejects even those norms, and she just wants to live her own life. You know, she doesn't want to be betrothed to a person she does not know, even though she later falls in love with him, which we will get into Naboo later. Like, she is not afraid of, just like Stella, dropping bodies. Homegirl and Stella are literally the two most powerful people on this group, and I really hate that the later season, like the other Nickelodeon dub, completely ruins their characters, because they deserve so much more. They deserve so much more. And it's like that, but also the way how mature Aisha / Layla is, she really is why I say she is the true second in command of the Winx Club girlies, because of how she is not afraid to be the voice of reason and to show. Now her also thing is like she normally doesn't show her emotional side, but when she does, she's like a raging river. You know, she knows how to be emotional. She knows how to comfort people, and there are times when, you know, she needs to be comforted as well. And I love that about her. I love me my powerful black queen. And then we have sorry. And then we have Musa in the 4Kids version. Let's run it back to that first introduction, shall we?
You are quite infamous.
That's the word on the street. Yo, if you plan to blow up more stuff, let us know ahead so we can bounce.
That bullshit. So Musa literally, like I said, she loses the black scent like halfway through season 2. But Musa's main thing is like, just like how Aisha rejects normal like gender roles, Musa just like kicks them, kicks down the door, and it's like, I understand how she acts. But at the same time, she is very questionable, especially her relationship with Riven, which I will get into when it comes to, you know, talk about their relationships and all that stuff. But Musa, clearly, her main thing is that she wants love. She wants love because, unfortunately, you know, she saw it with her parents and that's what she wants. But I feel like she goes after it in the wrong places. And the show really shows that. It shows how she will, like, in the beginning, she and Flora will try to impress Riven, even though Riven is a piece of trash, and I refuse for people to say otherwise. But Riven, like, treats them terribly, and then Musa later ends up with him. And then he treats her even worse. But at the same time, he feels entitled to her, which, again, I'm trying to hold back when I get to the relationships. But it's like, Musa deserves better. Hashtag, we gotta get Musa a better man. Like, I honestly feel like, also, like, so Musa is best friends. Well, Musa is supposed to be best friends with Aisha. I feel like they would be also in a polyamorous relationship with her and Naboo. I'm just saying, these girls would be perfectly fine if they went in polyamorous relations with each other.
Fuck out my way when you see me. I'm rolling with the LGBT. Fuck out.
Because we know the Red Fountain boys were doing it. Like, these boys, you can clearly tell these boys were with each other. I'm sorry. Like, there's a good chance that majority of these people were bi or pan. I refuse to accept otherwise. I am not wrong. I am not wrong in the slightest. Oh, sorry. And then we have Tekna, though I touched on her earlier. We have Flora. Flora actually really goes to a transformation in the 4Kids, unlike the other shows, because with her, she's given more of a voice. Like, she starts off, you know, wispy and gentle and quiet. But then when she gets pissed off, yo, there are times when I feel like Flora, because also, like, Flora is the fairy of nature. So, and there's, you know, plants and nature everywhere. Flora could become Poison Ivy if she wanted to. Like, imagine Flora acting like Poison Ivy. The universe would never be the same. It would never be the same whatsoever. I'm just saying they did not touch on Flora's magic enough. Also, Flora seems to get beat up a lot. Like, a lot. I feel so sorry for her. And Tekna is Tekna. I'm not really going to her. Now, when it comes to the boys, okay, so the boys, like I said, only Brandon, Timmy, Helia, and Naboo are the only good boy main characters that, well, you know, supporting characters. The other guys, like Riven and Sky, are absolute trash. Because first of all, with Sky, how are you going to cheat on your fiance and then get confused when your fiance gets angry? Like, I know that you did not pick Diospro and all that, but you did not have to cheat on her with Bloom, embarrass both of them. He embarrassed both of these girls. And then act as if you're the victim. Sir, make it make sense. Make it make sense, because I don't get it. Also, Dan Green's voice acting for Sky is like top tier. Though you can still hear Yugi peek in. Yugi and the Pharaoh, like they're totally peeking in every now and then. Riven.
Where's this bitch? Where's Shunkin if you out there and you hear me? Girl, I'm waiting on you.
We find out with Riven is that, well, later in the series, is that the reason why he is so, like, brushing off about women is because, like, his mother abandoned him, so he doesn't believe that, you know, women are, you know, like, women ain't shit and all that stuff. But it's like, you don't need to hold that against your girlfriend. She's done nothing but support and love you. Now, there are times when he does support and love her back, but I don't understand him. Riven is a piece of work. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. Riven is a whole ass piece of work. But you know what? We can work with that. Allegedly. Though I am happy that they officially, like, Riven and Musa break up later in the series, to which I am so happy. I am so happy that they break up later in the series. This is in the other dub, by the way. So they're not together, but allegedly they get back together. I gotta go back and see. But it's like Musa was living her best life when she was not with him. She was not with him at all. I feel like Musa deserves better. And then we have, you know, Brandon, Timmy, Nabu, and Helia. I'm kind of just gonna lump them together. They are what men should be. These 4 men would do anything for their girls. They, no matter what happens, they are at their girl's side. They got to know their girls, but technically speaking, I was gonna say without deception. Nabu at first, like, was like spying and following Layla around, which, okay, creeper. But like once they understood each other and stuff like that, they were perfect. Like, I love them. I love Nabu and Layla together, though I still call BS on his death. How is he still dead? Because here's the thing. Bloom can bring people back to life. She can bring people back to life. She just chooses not to. Inside, and this is in like, you know, after 4 kids. But like, she just chooses not to bring Nabu back when he dies from overexertion when it comes to magic. Make it make sense. And then also she got really self-righteous when what's her name? She got really self-righteous when Aisha wanted to beat the Wizards of the Wavering Circle. Wizards of the Black Circle's asses. Rightfully so, but, you know, self-righteous ass bitch later on. Bloom really regresses as a character after the 4 kids dub. Like, she really regresses. And now let's talk about our villains. Hands down, the witches are the best part of Winx Club, because these women, Icy and Darcy together, deliver some of the best burns. They deliver some of the best burns ever. Like, here's a little compilation.
That's the problem with positive thinkers. They just never know when it's time to give up.
To wipe the floor with your kind back in Tides.
Well, you're not in Tides anymore, sweetheart.
Who's the new girl?
Who cares? Let's kick her booty.
I have magic power. That poor girl barely has wings.
Remember, never use the elevator in an emergency.
There's been an elevator malfunction. We're stuck in here.
You pathetic Earth girl. How'd you even get into this school? You don't have any winks at all.
You're wrong. I do have wings.
No, I don't think so.
Like, these women, like, I love them. I love them. The voice acting is amazing. It's also when you realize, you know, the person who voices Icy voices Musa, and it's like, there's like a scene when oh, let me back a little bit. The witches in season 1 were also not afraid of dropping bodies. These women were homicidal with a capital H, exclamation point, 12 times. These women were not afraid of dropping bodies. And the moment they had to like deal with other people, so like Lord Darkar and with Valtor, they really went down in quality, which I don't understand why. Also, for some reason, in the season 2, they reveal that they can fuse together, but they never do it again. And then also, I love how they like try to fight over men, like, you know, because most of the people that they end up being sidekicks to, even though they would hate being called that, are men who, like, you know, want to use them for their own benefits. And it's like, I feel like they deserve so much better. Every single one of these women deserves so much better, especially Icy. Icy literally is like one of the best villains, because even though she has no problem with homicide, with killing people, she does it smartly, okay? Stormy just wants to murk people, and then Darcy is like, I am too pretty. Darcy's like, I am too pretty to constantly be throwing hands with these teenagers. But she is not, at the same time, she is not afraid of doing it. And I love that about them. But then also when it comes to like the villains in the other two scenes, like Lord Darkheart in season 2, what is this?
Look, it's a bird. No, it's a man. No, it's Lord Darkheart.
I don't know who said that this man needs to have like snappy one-liners every 5 freaking minutes, but he does. And then when it comes to Baltor, for some reason they called him his original thing is Valtor with a V, but they call him Baltor with a B inside the show. I mean, inside the 4Kids dub. I don't know why. It could be like a writing issue and they just decided not to, to take it out. But Baltor is honestly one of the best like male villains because he's just evil because he wants to be. He's just evil because he wants to be. You know what? I love that. Bring back more villains who are evil just because they want to. Just because they want to. They have nothing better else to do. I see it. Like I see a land in the distance. I'm going to conquer because I feel like it. You have magical scrolls over there. I'll take it. Like, bring back villains who are just, who are evil just because they want to. And I like that. I really, really like that. Also, his theme slaps. Like, listen to his theme right quick.
Door for the rest of the realms.
I'm not gonna lie, that man's also very pretty. That man is very, very pretty. I refuse to apologize for that. Let's go ahead and let's close out this video because I've already been talking a little bit too much and too long. So in closing, 4Kids Winx Club is honestly one of the best, at least in my opinion, like dubs of Winx Club probably ever. I'm interested to see what the new reboot is gonna be. With the whole leaks that's going around, it looks interesting. I'm going to give it a try. I gave Winx Club, that thing on Netflix, a try. It was the most terrible decision I've ever made in my life, but I gave it a try. And it's like, I really believe we need to bring back stuff like this. We need to bring back girls who are not afraid of literally kicking ass and taking names, which is what I also really, really loved about Winx Club. When it comes to the whole gender dynamics and female empowerment, for example, you aren't really oppressed by your gender unless it's your planet. And even then, how do I explain this? For example, with Althea, so crazy because you can also tell that the girls at the school really do love Bloom and her friends. I'm not saying that they're perfect because they're not. No, there's no such thing as perfect people. But there are several times when the different characters will try, outside forces will try to bully Bloom and her friends. And the other girls will show up and literally be like, oh no, we're not letting y'all happen. We're not letting y'all do this. And I support and stand that. But when it comes to the empowerment, it literally shows that girls can be just as good, if not better than boys. And that's also something that I really wish more media would come with. Because for example, it's shown, for example, that the girls who go to Althea normally end up marrying the boys from Red Fountain. And the boys in Red Fountain are trained to be, warriors and kings and guardians. So you can clearly see the matchmaking going on. You have these girls who are getting this high level education, which, Nick, now that I think about it, there's supposed to be other schools as well, but they just, mention Althea. But these girls are getting this high class education, and so are the boys. but they aren't treated as weak, even though there are some outdated beliefs. Like, for example, the first thing out of Riven's mouth when he meets the girls is like, oh, let the heroes do the work. And then like the girls are all like watching them get their butts kicked, and Stella's like, so what are the heroes getting here? I love me a messy bitch. I love me a messy bitch. And it's like, I really love that, just like how there's, you know, like racial blindness, like, you know, there's, like you don't get discriminated against on your race and ethnicity. The same thing can go with your sexuality and, you know, your sexual orientation and like, you know, your gender. Because like for a show that actually was like in the height of kind of, I guess you can say kind of conservative / liberal times, they used the word trans. Like Myrta, for example, they call her a trans fairy. Or like they call her a trans fairy because she first was a witch and she transitioned over to becoming a fairy, which shows also that, like, you know, fairies don't, like, fairies can be witches and witches can be fairies. And I guess it's just like how the women choose to use their powers, which interesting. But that also means another thing. The girls in Cloud Tower most likely are witches. I mean, most likely are queens and princesses as well. They just never mention it. So does that mean that there's like worlds like led by witches? You know, just like there are worlds led by fairies. Oh my God, I love that. You know, I just now thought of that. I cannot wait to review the episodes because y'all are going to love my thoughts about the episodes. Like I said, I'm going to do them in batches, like batches of 4, batches of 3. Because there's no way I'm going to do episode by episode of, you know, of this, because 20 plus episodes, y'all, 20 plus episodes. I am not doing that. But in conclusion, 4Kids Winx Club is honestly one of the best iterations. The fandom only has grown, and it's crazy because like when 4Kids was on, 4Kids was part of that whole like Disney XD, that Jetix, that Kids WB era. So like when I, for example, was watching Winx Club as well, there were like, I would be watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Then I would switch the channel and I would be watching Justice League Unlimited, or I would switch the channel again and I would be watching, you know, stuff on Jetix. I'll be watching Witch. And it's like, I understand why we don't have shows like this anymore. Well, no, I don't understand why. Let me take that back. I do not understand why we don't have shows like this anymore, especially because like the fandom has only grown because of nostalgia, and nostalgia is honestly one of the best like ways to get more stuff in your, like more people in like influenced into your stuff, because there is no way that I believe that if Winx Club did not premiere today, it would not have another cult following. I don't believe it, because Winx Club is one of those shows that I firmly believe would last from, you know, like to the ends of time, kind of like Sailor Moon. By the way, that is honestly, I do plan to review that, but that is going to be a Patreon only thing, because copyright for them is, if I so much as think about it, I will get whoo, and I don't want that for this channel. This is a baby channel and I do not want that. But also, guys, so much for following and watching and listening to my rants about 4Kids Winx Club and like little funny clips that I inserted in this video. Like I said, I plan to do a breakdown for the episodes, but I actually have a big surprise for you guys. So I have decided to rewrite all of season 1 of House of the Dragon, and it's going to be at least 10 episodes, and they're all going to be at least about an hour long. I'm going to post them here. I considered posting them first on my Patreon to give, you know, like my patrons early access. By the way, to the person who subscribed to me for the first time, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Like, I cannot put to words how happy seeing that made me, because I'm not going to lie, I did not think anybody would ever want to listen to me in my mindless rants, but I really do appreciate it. And because of that, I actually have made a special level on my Patreon right now. If you guys go to it, the first 50 people who subscribe to my $15 tier, it's called So it's called the Eternal Bloomer, and you literally unlock everything. For my first 20 people, you unlock everything except for my $100 tier. It's the only thing that you do not get access to is my $100 tier. But if you do my $15 and you stay a $15 patron, you unlock everything. You unlock everything, and you get like a special rank in my Discord, which I actually need to finish up making because I want a community for people, who like love me, love my work, to, be able to hang out and talk and stuff like that and have movie nights. I know one of the things that I definitely love doing is hosting movie nights, anime talks, I really cannot wait to get to work on this. And like I said, you unlock everything with this membership. It's cut off, like I said, at 50 people because I always believe that 50 is a good number. The rewrites for the House of the Dragon, I'm actually going to start. It's actually going to be posted next week. Episode 1 is going to be posted next week. I'm going to do it podcast style, so there's not going to be any background stuff. It's only going to be an image and my voice. And I will be using a script for that. I'm going to fiddle around with it to see how I like it. But I already have episodes 1 through 5 already plotted out. And I think I might just put it up on Patreon first. By the way, if you subscribe to my Patreon, everything early access drops on Thursday. So early access drops Thursday because the actual videos are going to drop on on my YouTube is going to drop on Saturday. So, early access to other stuff, and you get also a bunch of goodies. And I have also, I have another big surprise mid-February. And speaking of February, I have decided that I am going to do a series on various Black media so TV shows and movies. I've already selected them, so don't worry. And it's going to be about, various Black media and how they have impacted Black culture. Because, February is Black History Month. And I'm a Black person. But thank you guys so much. If you like my stuff, please like, comment, subscribe. It boosts my it boosts my videos in the algorithm. And I will catch y'all later. Bye.
I won't make it easy for you now. You got 2 minutes of my time, and I don't really break too easily, but I'm worth it, 'cause I'll slip into your dreams tonight. Oh,